One thing I think that is intriguing. I know the title of your piece is "The Devil in Nerds Clothing," and so let's start with the fact of in terms of being from Central Casting, Sam Bankman-Fried did sort of fit the type to be a billionaire. For you, were there particular interviews he did that you thought, okay, this doesn't smell right?
Yeah, there was one interview that he gave that we focused on in our story, which we just thought was incredibly illustrative. And it was a conversation he had with Bloomberg's Matt Levine, where he was trying to describe yield farming, and it was a rather sort of chaotic, convoluted way of describing it. But then he provided a metaphor of how his company, Alameda Research, had effectively, it was a metaphorical black box that just kept providing crypto yields, and it just kept making money. But there was nothing in the box. All that mattered was that it was kept making money. And when Matt Levine pointed out that maybe, does this mean that you're in the Ponzi business? There was another interaction before Sam Bankman-Fried actually said, I think that's a reasonable, understanding. And he did not disagree. And so maybe we're like putting a lot of attention on a singular interaction, but it is a telling response.
I think it is. It does raise the question when you're in the realm of crypto, which we know, doesn't have the central bank. It's decentralized. It, obviously started as anonymity being a selling point. Was it just a caveat emptor realm where, you come in and you know that this can eviscerate quickly, or were there particular things that you know Sam did that really sort of went beyond what you'd expect anyone in the crypto space to be doing? I mean, let's talk about his lobbying in Washington, for example, because that's something you lay out in the story as well.
Another thing that provided this sort of genius image of Sam Bankman-Fried, and the reason why a lot of investors went on to trust him, and why customers went on to trust him, and his employees especially, believed in what he was saying, was because he did things that seemed to also go against the grain. Like, he was a huge proponent of lobbying Washington, and as part of the millions of dollars that he spent on the 2022 midterms, which Forbes previously reported was around $39 million, which is a lot of money for an individual. This was led to him making calls for transparency in the crypto sector, which was and more regulation of the crypto sector, which was a different message that was being sent by the majority of the sector. And that seemed to sort of go against the grain there. The other thing that also happened was that he would make huge donations to charities, and he also, put a lot of money into sponsoring sports teams and marketing in that realm. And a lot of this had to do with his involvement with the Center for Effective Altruism, which was a group of luminaries and philosophers who want to, do good in the world and donate most of their wealth to the rest of the world. And a lot of the things that he did was to try and make as much money as he could so that he could donate more money. And that was sort of like the thinking that underpinned apparently a lot of his investments and charitable giving. But as we've seen in the last week, like at Miami Heat Stadium, they've started tearing down FTX logos from its arena. So there's just been a lot of we're seeing a lot of people take the FTX sign off the shop front, and we're only going to see more of that happen.
How